The night of the river watch came with lanterns swaying on reeds and the soft chanting of Riverglint's elders. One by one, families carried their young to the bend where the water split around the old stone. The ritual was as old as memory itself, to place a child where the current divided, and to ask which path they would follow. Morrow's paws felt heavy as she carried Thea and Nox to the bank. They were barely old enough to understand. Their fur still soft with youth, their steps clumsy. Yet tradition demanded it. Every child was brought before the river, no matter how small. Thea wriggled in her grasp, eyes wide with excitement at the glow of lanterns and the hum of voices. Nox was quieter, pressing close to his sister, his steady gaze fixed on the water. The crowd's whispers grew when Morrow approached. She heard them. "Twins from one egg. Watch closely. The river will show its truth." Her jaw tightened, but she said nothing. She waded forward, placing her children in the shallows where the river parted around the stone. The water swirled bright on one side, reflecting the lanterns, dark on the other. Shadow pooled where starlight failed to reach. The chant rose softly. "Which current will you follow?" Thea, bright-eyed, darted to the shining side without hesitation. She splashed into the glow, laughter bubbling up like dawn breaking. "Here," she squeaked, tail wagging. "It's warm." Nox hesitated. His gaze flicked to his sister, then to the darker path. Slowly, deliberately, he stepped into the shadowed current, his paws sinking into the cool flow. He did not laugh. He only stood, silent, as if the river itself steadied him. The villagers gasped. Some nodded knowingly. Others muttered into their paws. The myth was alive before their eyes. One to the bright, one to the dark. Morrow's breath caught in her throat. She wanted to rush forward, to pull them both away, to tell the village that this meant nothing. But Brooke's staff tapped against the stone, sealing the rite. "The currents have chosen," the elder intoned, his voice echoing. Day and night, shallow laughter, deep silence. So the river speaks. Thea bounded back to Nox, pressing her wet fur against his side. He leaned into her without question, as though they had never been apart. But Morrow, she did not run to meet them. Her paws rooted to the bank. A cold weight pressed into her chest, heavier than stone. The whispers were louder now, impossible to shut out. Omen. Myth. Test. When she finally gathered them, her touch was firm, but her gaze was distant. She walked them home with her tail low, her eyes fixed on the path ahead, not on the children at her side. That night, when Thea chirped questions and Nox watched her in silence, Morrow gave no answers. She curled around them, but her warmth did not reach her eyes. The twins pressed close together, whispering to each other in the dark, sensing the space growing between them and their mother. And in Riverglint, the story of the twin currents began to take root. In the days that followed the river watch, Riverglint buzzed like a hive stirred by a stick. Wherever Morrow walked, she felt eyes on her, their glances sliding not to her, but to the two small shapes pressed against her legs. "Day and night," the whispers said. "The river has spoken." At first, Morrow tried to push the voices aside. She kept her children close, watching their every move, measuring their breaths as if by guarding them she could keep the myth at bay. But the weight of so many eyes, of Crest's piercing stare, of Brooke's half-cryptic smiles, burrowed deep into her chest. By the second week, her warmth began to falter. She answered Thea's bright chatter with nods instead of words. When Nox leaned into her side, she shifted away ever so slightly. convincing herself he needed to learn steadiness without her. At night, she still curled her body around them, but her tail no longer draped over their backs. Each act was small, almost invisible, but to the twins, it was like the river pulling back from the shore. Thea noticed first. "Mama," she piped one evening, her pink eyes wide. "Did I do something wrong? Was it because I chose the shiny water?" Morrow froze, claws pressing into the earth. She wanted to gather her daughter close, to whisper, "No, never. You are my light." But the words caught like stones in her throat. If she gave Thea that warmth, would the village see her as favoring one current over the other? Would it draw the river's wrath sharper still? So she shook her head once, curtly. No. And nothing more. Thea's tail drooped. She pressed herself into Knox, who met her gaze with a silent, steady look. He didn't ask questions. He only stayed by her side, anchoring her the way he always did. As the moons turned, the pattern deepened. Morrow spoke less. Her touches grew fewer, her eyes more distant. To others, she looked practical, perhaps even strong, guarding herself and her children against the myth curling tighter around them. But inside, the distance was a wound. Each night when she thought they slept, she whispered to herself, "If I hold them less, perhaps the river will take less notice. If I love them less, perhaps the story will not claim them." But the twins were not blind. In the hush of their willow hollow, Thea pressed her pale muzzle against Knox's darker fur. "She doesn't smile anymore," she whispered. "Not at me. Not at you." Knox blinked his steady blue eyes, laying his chin over her head. "Then we'll smile for each other," he said simply. Thea sniffled, but a faint giggle slipped out all the same. She curled closer, their bodies twining until no space remained between them. And so, where Morrow pulled away, the twins grew closer still. Two small currents bound tighter against the pull of the river. The elders gathered again at the river's bend a few nights after the rite. The lanterns had long since been put away, yet the whispers of the river watch still clung to Riverglint like morning mist. Elderbrook leaned heavily on his staff, his cloudy eyes glinting as he watched the willow hollow from afar. "The mother pulls back," he said, his tone neither judgment nor approval. Only observation, a river retreating from its own banks. Nettle's vines swayed uneasily, silver streaks catching faint starlight. "It wounds them," she murmured. "I see it in their eyes. They look to her and only find silence, and so they cling harder to each other." Crest stood tall, his pale gold eyes unblinking. "Perhaps she is wise," he said firmly. "The more she distances herself, the less the river may strike. If she believes she protects them by coldness, then she protects us all as well." Nettle's vines bristled, though her voice remained steady. "Children are not shields, Crest. To starve them of love is no protection. It is harm." Crest's jaw tightened. He turned his gaze toward the willow. "I watched her. She nearly spoke comfort to the Pale One when asked if she was wrong, and she swallowed it. That restraint shows strength. If the myth is to be endured, better they learn now the world will not coddle them." Brooke chuckled softly, though there was little humor in the sound. "Strength? Or fear? The river does not ask us to chain our hearts, Crest. It asks us to listen. And the story I hear is not of a mother who shields her children. It is of a woman drowning beneath a tale too heavy for her paws." Nettle bent her massive form low, her voice soft but firm. I will not let the myth smother them. I will give them kindness where she cannot. Crest's eyes narrowed, his crest scar catching faint light. Be cautious, Nettle. Too much softness may bind you to them. When the river demands payment, it will hurt all the more. Brook tapped his staff against stone, breaking the tension like a drop of rain. And here we are, each hearing the river differently. Crest, here's warning. Nettle, here's compassion. And I... His cloudy eyes twinkled, drifting skyward. I hear possibility. The story is not finished. Perhaps the currents split only to teach us how to follow. The river gurgled against the old stone, carrying their words away. But the divide among them lingered, as sharp as the waters parting, one bright, one dark, both pulling at the same shore. When the council's words had drifted into silence, Nettle was the first to withdraw. Her massive vines rustled as she moved toward the thickets, her form bending low to check on sprouting reeds even in the dark. Crest lingered a moment longer, his eyes hard as cut stone, before turning sharply and striding away, each step clipped as though the ground itself offended him. Brook remained where he was, seated on his smooth river stone. He tapped his staff once, twice, the sound like dripping rain. Then he leaned back, his gaze lifting to the stars pricked faintly above the dark sweep of the river. Currents, currents, he murmured, his voice low, as though speaking only to the water. How you trouble my old heart. The charms tied to his brim swayed in the night breeze, shells clinking, beads tapping, tiny bones rattling like laughter. He fingered one, a bit of smooth glass gifted to him by a child long since grown, and let it turn in his hand. He chuckled softly. Nettle is right. Children should not be asked to bear the weight of stories before they even know their own names. And yet, Crest is not entirely wrong either. Fear teaches vigilance, though it sharpens too cruelly. His eyes drifted to the willow hollow, its roots half lit by starlight. He could almost hear the twins' faint squeaks of breath, their little bodies pressed together. The river repeats itself, he whispered, but not always in the same song. Once the story of the twin currents was warning. Once it was morning. Perhaps this time. His cloudy eyes narrowed, searching the dark. Perhaps this time it could be hope. Brook tapped his staff again, to sound like a drumbeat in the quiet. But if it is to be hope, someone must remember the tale differently. Someone must keep the ending open. The river hissed softly against the stone, as if answering him. He smiled, faint and tired, and leaned forward to rest both hands on his staff. Then let it be me, he said. Let old Brook be the fool who still believes rivers can change their course. Above him, the stars shimmered faintly, reflected in the twin streams of water curling past the stone.